Let's not waste too much time, boys. We got to get to work. But before we get down to mapping and pumping, we got to go over some build stuff. We got to take a look at all of the things that have changed with this build, which may not be a ton, but you know, I think some things have adjusted. I'd like to show you what I'm talking about. So right now with my Ascendants, I'm still rocking with the hulking form, getting my little extra bag slots through Colossal Capacity, getting strength buff through the little mini nodes. But I actually spec'd out of the Aftershocks and just went into the strength. Oh, sorry, not strength, but the life to see how that felt. And it's pretty beefy. We got 4.765 life at the moment, which is pretty cool. So I'm trying that out, just being a little tankier. And we're rolling through the top so that we could get easy access to the Brutal, Sturdy Metal, and Relentless, grabbing the extra armor along the way. And I'm coming over the top because I still am liking these talents. Skill speed does feel really good. It's only 14% skill speed, and we're not really making use of the skill mana cost converted to life cost because we're doing that entirely, converting all skill cost to life cost. But still, this 14% skill speed feels pretty good. This is something that I could drop if I wanted to, because we are getting access to all this extra attack speed stuff, which does feel really nice too. But we'll talk about this. So now we're going through the strength. We're going down into the armor stuff that we've always used. More armor, and then armor contributes to stun threshold. I went ahead and grabbed the two-handed damage again. It's just so much damage, and I don't really want to pass it up. I liked the idea of not reducing my attack speed and then giving myself attack speed with Battle Fever. I just didn't really feel like it was feeling right to me. So we went ahead and grabbed that again. I came down for this extra Aftershock stuff, because even though I'm not spec'd into Aftershocks, we still have like a decent chance to Aftershock, and then the AoE on them, especially if we're talking about, hold on a second. We got Rock Bird getting some subs, man. Big flex for it. We're just doing our recording of our build update real quick. But thank you so much, man. Pumping us up, dude. That's insane. Yeah, I like this node, but I'm not doing it that way. I'll show you where we're doing AoE. Instead of this, it's just points are tight. Points are tight. But we decided to go for some AoE a little bit differently. But yeah, we're rocking with that. I still think Aftershocks are good because we have like 20% chance to Aftershock, and then my the quality of Stampede gives it like 30% chance. So there's still a 50% chance to Aftershock on Stampede, so it's a pretty big deal. We're also grabbing Beef, going through this way, picking this up. Aftershock, of course. Now I went back into this Rage thing, which feels really nice. The Rage decaying more slowly and giving you +4 max, but then of course starting 1 second later means you get to hang on to Rage for a little bit longer, which I think feels pretty dang good. We went down here to pick up heat proofing for more armor, and then 25% of your armor applies to fire damage taken from it, which is nuts. Then we have a jewel socket right here, which is giving me a little bit of block chance, defense, life leech, Warcry recovery, and Warcry buff effect. This isn't insane, but I'm still using a couple block jewels for now, although I might start switching more of the block jewels out. So just coming down here before we go back up. This one is interesting. It's armor, which is cool. Rage when I hit enemies, 2 rage when I get hit by enemies, and then magnitude of bleeding. So I don't do any bleeds now, but that will be insane later. What's this for? Sure. Then we go here, grab this, the big strength, less mana into strength increases my damage, which is pretty sick. Let's see what this guy wants real quick. What are you looking for, this guy? That's pretty good. Yeah, enjoy that, man. Pretty good shield. Enjoy that one. Just giving it away. There you go, bro. All right. And then we come down into Giant's Blood, which is letting us use the two-handed weapons, two-handed maces in one hand, so I can either dual wield them or use them with a shield, which is what I'm doing. Come down here into the max resists, into unnatural resistance, which is not giving me a ton of fire or extra fire res right now. We're only 96, so I mean, I probably could actually unspec this and have 1 point to work with, but I'm still rolling with it right now. My resistances may go back up at some point, but it's not like a turbo valuable talent. But I am still getting 4 max res out of it, which is awesome. But having it be a little bit lower than the other ones is okay, because we are stopping fire damage with our armor too, which is sick. Coming down here, we also have another jewel that gives me a little bit of dex, which is neat, with block chance, attack damage, and then the rage combo, where it's 1 rage on melee hit, 2 rage when I get hit. Then I'm coming up here. I am grabbing the made to last physical damage prevented recoup is life. The more armor you have, the more physical damage you prevent, which is more life that you recoup. Recoup is a small like heal over time over 8 seconds, which is pretty sweet. I am still going down here for the aftershock stuff. I have 1 point just kind of laying around, so I put it here because it's just 22% increased damage with maces. My next level up, I can do some kind of like 2-point thing, like we could talk about going into two-handed damage, into shockwaves, like we just mentioned. We could do stuff like come over here for more damage against stun enemies, or we could do AoE with armor break and more AoE. We do have some options for some cool stuff. I mean, we could even go into like, I don't think I'll do block, but like this kind of thing. There's a couple areas where you can do 2 points and it's actually good. But not sure about that yet. Or I could even come back for the max res, but we'll go up there first, or in a second. But the 22% increased damage is like a big node, so we'll chuck that in there. Now, I anointed Titanic now for stun buildup and stun threshold and 5% strength, which is really, really cool, because I got a new amulet. But we'll talk. I think my gear has probably changed quite a bit. We'll show you guys some of that. Well, 2 main changes, but it's really kind of switched things up. So this node, remember we talked about this whole cluster of nodes, clusters up here, because we got this jewel where +1 to max cold and +1 to max lightning for every notable, which is kind of like the big ones. Not the real big ones, but the little big ones. All these that I allocate will give me +1 max cold and lightning, so that means that all this stuff that we put points into is juicy. So I always went with the rage. I like the rage. When you get hit, you generate a ton of rage, and it gives you armor per rage, which is awesome. I've always really liked the idea of these talents. And now we get armor, attack speed, and attack speed after getting hit. One of the changes that I made is actually, spoiler alert, reducing some of the block, right? So, yeah, I'm not doing the attack speed over here like I used to. I like this, but I'm not doing that now, no. We get some attack speed over here, and we get skill speed here, and that's pretty much what we're working with. But I do like this, but I reduced my block a fair amount so that I could get hit more frequently, because I'm tankier a little bit. So we can get hit more frequently and benefit from all of the attack speed and armor, and then the rage building, which is also damage and armor when I get hit, which is pretty cool. Just quickly to jump up here, we go for the AoE. With AoE, if you've killed something recently, and more AoE damage, and then 40% melee damage with hits at close range. So we're not always at close range, but we are frequently at close range, and it's just, you know, it's damage, it's conditional damage, but it still gives me damage with the max cold and lightning. Another option I could do with the 2 points is I could put the point here for more armor, and then I could do the thorns thing if you blocked recently. It's not very valuable, but it's 2 points for 30% armor and 1 max res to both, which is probably worth it. But I don't know, I might go for the AoE instead. That sounds fun too. Or like I said, this stuff over here. Anyway, we are going to blood magic. This is where I don't have to have any mana. It just uses my health for my skill cost, which is awesome. We're coming up here to grab the attack damage, to also give me the max cold res and lightning res. These are the max res nodes. We're grabbing all of those. And then we have the +5 all, and then max res, which is pretty sweet. And then we have more max res, and then strength, leading over to this AoE node. So this gives me AoE, 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 and if I've stunned an enemy recently, and just more AoE. And then we also just put 1 point right here for stun buildup and attack damage. So it's like I can spend 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6, 7 to get all of this. Or I could spend 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to get all of this, right? So I'm spending fewer points first, and then when I have 2 more points to spend, I'll just put those there anyway. But I did want to grab the big stuff, just a ton of AoE, and then a little bit more damage and stun buildup. That's kind of how I decided to invest that. But yeah, and here pretty soon we'll level, hopefully. Today, I don't think it'll be like the daytime stream, but today we'll level up, and then I'll probably take this point out and then move it to this, I think, is what I'm leaning towards. But we have other cool stuff. Like there are things that are just 2 points away that are pretty cool, and that's something that we could look for. There's some possibility at some point that I may even do some fire damage stuff. I'm not there yet, and I'm thinking about it, but I'm mulling it over. So that fire damage is like a cool way to scale, because I got a new weapon, and that's looking pretty juicy. But let me go over my skills real quick, because I think that's just helpful for people, right? Look at what I'm doing. So on Mace Strike, I have it applying a bleed potentially. I have it doing more stun buildup. I have it life leeching. I have it doing more damage at close range, and I have it culling striking enemies, which means that if I hit enemies that are 30% below, 20% below, 10% below, or 5% below, if they're normal, magic, rare, unique, it'll kill them instantly, which is pretty cool. This is mostly just kind of like a placeholder for some cool stuff that I'm not using on other stuff, but that is kind of useful, right? If a mob is kind of low, you can just whack it and it will die if it's 30% or below. Kind of nice. For like one mob is alive, you don't want to like wind up a Sunder on them, you just go smack them and they'll die. Stampede, this is a big thing I use for clear. This is my doing big AoE, big aftershocks. I have it doing momentum, so it does more damage once it goes a full 2 meters away, which it almost always does, I'm pretty sure. Unless you like roll out of it, right? You can like charge, roll, and cancel it, and won't do anything, but anyway. I have it doing the break armor equal to 15% of its physical damage, and then I have it exploding when armor is fully broken. So I'm not doing the devastate armor break thing that some people do with this ascendancy right here. We're not doing that one. We're just breaking with damage, and it works just fine. And then I'm also using it to give me a ton of rage. So I play it like a WoW warrior. I charge in and I get rage off of my charge, which makes me do more damage, makes me take less damage. I'm not combined with the rage from getting hit is pretty good rage generation. So right now I have Leap Slam socketed in still. I have Leap Slam giving me Consecrated Ground, which is like the main thing that I like. Against bosses and stuff, or anything, you can just like Leap Slam and then Sunder while standing in your little puddle of healing, which is pretty sweet. I have it with more attack speed, just so I can zip around a little bit more quickly with it. Sometimes I like attack speed and Stampede as well, but this is what I'm rocking with right now, and I have it making a little shockwave where I leave and where I land. It's kind of nice. For Bone Shatter, we're using the Aftershock on a heavy stun AoE to buff just the AoE pop that Bone Shatter brings. I love Bone Shatter still. I have it fully breaking armor, which means that whenever I'm fighting a mob that doesn't just die to Stampede, I can smack it with Bone Shatter, and if it survives that, then its armor is fully broken and I can hit it with a Sunder. It'll guarantee double, like, you know, double damage crit it, which is awesome. I also have it doing way more damage on enemies that are low life, which is like 35% or below. And then I also have it giving me a chance to gain an endurance charge when it fully breaks armor. This is something that's experimental. I haven't tried this yet. I'm gonna try it today and see how I like it, because endurance charges let you do cool stuff with your shouts. And I wanna give that a try. So here's something pretty neat. Time of Need, I always use Time of Need right now. I love it. It gives you a small little heal. It removes curses and elemental ailments. And if you socket it with Fast Forward, it does it more frequently than 10 seconds between blessings, I think. So you can just count it in the video. I don't think it's a full 10 seconds. Ideally, it would be like 7 seconds, right? Something like that, which is nice. A little rolling heal and stuff like that is great. And I also have it giving me more accuracy so that all my abilities are pretty dang near 100% chance to hit, 99 at the moment. So that's pretty nice. Right now, I don't know. I'm only using one shot right now, and it's because I'm using 3 auras. But Infernal Cry I think is cool for mapping, and I'm gonna see how it feels. But I think against bosses, I'd like with Seismic Cry. And Seismic Cry, if you're only gonna use one, I think is the better one to use. But I am gonna try Infernal Cry, and then against bosses, I'll just switch it out and just give that a try. I like that it dazes enemies, which makes them take more stun build up. I like the premeditation. So skills empowered by supported skills deal more damage, and right now I'm just gonna have it do more AoE so that I can debuff more mobs, and so I can use the AoE to empower the skill more. So it deals like up to 100% more damage as fire, which is crazy because I'll show you my weapon in a second. Hammer of the Gods right now, I have it doing more damage for a little bit of attack speed. I have it actually ancestrally boosted now, and I have it doing more max physical damage. So my hammer is doing a little bit less damage than it did before, but it's doing it in a bigger AoE, and it's doing it on a shorter cooldown. So I think that's kind of nice against bosses to have the hammer more frequently, the big stun build up, and of course big damage. Build update, yep, just in time, Rudy. Just in time, bro. Welcome. For my Sunder, I'm actually having it suck some rage down to deal 35% more damage. This is like a 25% damage buff, basically, because it takes 10 rage away, which is 10% more damage, but then it gives you 35, so it's like, you know, it does more. And then you have, I don't know if my math is right on that. Maybe it just actually is. 35% more. I don't know. And then I have it doing less AoE, but more damage. So I'm using Sunder as like a sort of mid-range boss and rare killer, right? So when enemies survive my clear, I'll give it the hammer and Sunder, which feels pretty good. It still goes pretty far, just because of all my AoE, but I have it doing less AoE. But I mean, it still hits really far. And then I have it just dealing more damage and then a chance to Aftershock. I also am considering just throwing the fire damage in there, but I think Aftershock is still nice. Just a 25% chance to do double damage is pretty good. Especially because it does like big stun build up on bosses. So here's what's really neat. A couple things have changed, right? So because I got a new amulet, I am able to do 3 auras. So I always have Time of Need on. I will move Scavenged Plating out, I think, for bosses. And when I'm fighting a boss, I'll put Overwhelming Presence in, just to have the bosses take more like stun build up, basically, because their stun threshold is reduced. And then I'll put all these auras in it, except for persistence. I'll take that out. But look at what I can do now. I can put Vitality and Cannibalism in my persistent buff setup, which is really sweet. Which makes it way more comfortable to use Berserk, which is awesome. Because Berserk gives me Life Leech, because now I don't have Life Leech on my weapon. But it does give me some Life Leech. And I'm healing over time and healing off of killing enemies. So the lack of Life Leech, I think, is okay. You do lose a nice little chunk of your life per second while not losing rage. So like 4% of my life per second. Well, not 4% of my life, 3% of my life per second while I'm not losing rage. So that can kind of sting a little bit, but I'm also regenerating a ton of life now too. So hopefully that sort of helps. But you definitely notice the damage because you're not necessarily going to die from Berserk, but when you take damage to other stuff that you're not healing back, it looks scary. Your health bar goes down. But anyway, we have it qualityed up to give me 54% increased rage effect. So this is some big damage amplification, and of course damage is more stuns and everything like that. So I'm using Berserk. It's pretty sweet. But I should have mentioned what Scavenged Plating does. So Scavenged Plating, whenever you break something's armor, you get a stack of Scavenged Plating, which gives you 7% more armor and thorns. But you're basically running around the map with 70% more armor most of the time, because I have it supported with duration. So the buff is usually 8 seconds. Now it's like 12 almost, right? So running around the map, Berserk, armored up, healing and cleansing yourself constantly, pretty sweet. But you're not going to get a lot of value out of Scavenged Plating against bosses because you only break their armor once every once in a while. So I just put in Overwhelming Presence, and I also might swap into the Shout out too, which means I'm probably going to drag the Shout down here, because I'll be swapping it out. And I want the things I'm swapping out to be down here. I don't think I'm going to swap out Berserk. So I think I might move Berserk somewhere else. I might swap out Leap Slam every once in a while, though. Not sure about that. But anyway, we'll move Scavenged Plating and Infernal Cry down a bit, because those are the things I'm going to swap. Realistically, I probably should have them up at the top if I'm going to swap them, huh? Because I think when you swap, or when you open up your skills menu, it moves it to the top. So like things I'm never ever gonna swap out, I probably should put at the top, or at the bottom actually. So I think Berserk is pretty locked in. Hammer of the Gods is pretty locked in. I don't need to do all this organization right now, but that's kind of what I'm thinking. And those are my skills. That's my setup. Now the reason why I'm able to do this amount of auras is because I have access to more spirit now. So I got a new amulet last night. This is really neat. This is really neat. So I was searching for amulets. I want plus skills on my amulet, but all the plus skill stuff is pretty expensive. What I did is I searched for an amber amulet with life and strength, and I was like, you know what'd be cool is to get some spirit. I wonder what those cost. So I searched for spirit as well, and I found this one that had amber amulet, life, strength, spirit. So it just had 3 little effects on it for a divine. So I bought it, and I could have done this on stream, but I was like, you know what? We're just gonna send it off stream, see how it goes. It rolled life regen, which is like, okay. Then it rolled mana, which is like, not great. It's a low mana roll. And then it rolled +1 level to all melee skills. And I was like, saved. So it could have rolled 3. It could have rolled something better than mana and life regen. But my old amulet was giving me plus skills. And so we at least didn't downgrade my skills, and we were able to upgrade the life, and we added strength to it, again, without downgrading my skills. We lost all res, but my resistances are okay still. But the strength gain that it gave me, and the fact that I was able to then anoint for Titanic, allowed me to have enough strength to put on my new weapon without having to go down to polymathy, right? Which is really cool, because polymathy is a lot of travel all the way down here just for attributes, right? Now for polymathy, you could do stuff that's cool off of that. You could do like chance to bleed stuff, which is excellent, right? You could get a little bit of bleed chance there. You could get like a little bit of bleed chance. Archer loves to just yell as loud as he can as soon as I start recording videos. I think it hypes him up, I think. He gets really jazzed up. My guy's fired up. But we could get a little bit of bleed here, and we could get a little bit of bleed here, and then we could come over here for some bleed. And then what I was thinking is I would maybe even come over here to glancing blows to double my block chance, but take 50% damage from the blocked hits, just to like smooth out the damage a little bit, because we have a lot of cool stuff that we could do, right? This is also really neat. Parrying motion also gives me stuff, but you'll notice I'm not investing in block anymore. So I only have a 44% chance to block, and we used to have 75% chance to block. But my character has gotten a little bit beefier with the resists and the armor, and getting hit more frequently is actually kind of nice, because then I benefit from all of my like rage on hit, which is damage and defense, and then I get the armor and attack speed on hit, like when I get hit, which is more like damage and defense and like mobility utility. So it's actually pretty cool that I don't have to do that anymore. But there is a lot of really cool stuff in this polymathy route. I just didn't have to do that yet. But one of the ways that I can scale my character later on for like boss killing is bleed stuff. So we may eventually go down to polymathy just to have a bunch of strength, which is damage and health, but also access to bleed, which is good for boss killing. So I may do this eventually, but right now I'm not doing that yet. We'll think about it. But it was cool because I could put on this new weapon without that polymathy route, which is very neat. So we're gonna try that out. But anyway, new necklace gives me spirit. And the other cool thing with this neck is that it's a 47 spirit, which puts me like 3 spirit off of being able to equip another buff, like herbalism, where my life recovery flask is juiced up a little bit, which would be cool for 15 spirit. Or I could take off one of those things and just put on a whole nother aura. Like I could just wear overwhelming presence all the time. In exchange for like leap slam, maybe something like that. I could just wear a ton of auras if I had 3 more spirit. But it's like, how are you gonna get 3 more spirit? It's only 47. Well, guess what? 47 is the low roll of the tier. So if I wanted to just keep throwing divines at this item until it rolled 50 spirit, then that would be a pretty good way for me to increase my character power quite a bit by either adding kind of the ability to use a more powerful life flask against bosses, which I'll probably do anyway. I'll take out cannibalism and I'll put in herbalism when I fight bosses, just to make my life flask more useful, because the healing when you kill an enemy isn't really useful against bosses. But yeah, I'll have to re-roll this item with divines in order to get that, which is fine. That's fine. It's pretty well rolled overall, and I think what I'm gonna do is I'll use a strength catalyst on this. Is it attribute catalyst, maybe? I think that's what it's called. I wonder if the attribute catalyst buffs spirit. Spirit isn't really an attribute, but anyway. But I'll buff the strength on this thing with the attribute catalyst, and that'll be pretty cool. It's not like a giga strength roll, but it's nice, and I can always use more strength, which is nice. But that's the big stuff. I haven't put a socket in my helmet yet, because there's a chance that I need to use this socket to give me more chaos res if like I switch my ring and I lose some chaos res on the ring or something like that. But all in all, pretty cool that we can put this weapon on. So let me show you what the weapon is. I think I talked about it before just a little bit. And we have the increased physical damage %, increased physical damage flat, but we also have increased elemental damage, right? So that's pretty cool. I don't do a lot of elemental damage right now, but elemental damage is another way to scale this character. If we didn't want to do bleed, we could do like fire damage. And then we could get all of these like % increased elemental damage buffs on weapons and go kind of nuts with that. So that's pretty cool. I also kind of like pseudo crafted this weapon too. So when I bought it, it had the fizz %, fizz, flat, elemental, and attack speed. So then I put 2 exalts into it and it rolled crit and strength, which is like, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Whenever I try to craft items that are like dinky, they don't usually go great. Sometimes they do, and those are the ones I'm trying to sell. But this one actually rolled nicely, and this one pretty cooperated as well. One for 3 is pretty good. The rest of my gear is about the same. My rings, I'm using rings to get chaos resist and cold resist, and then life attributes, even a little bit of accuracy. My chest piece is a decent amount of armor, good life, cold, and I'm getting chaos res from that with some strength. Basically, all my armor, I'm looking for like resists, life, armor, and then accuracy is fine too on helmet. But yeah, the big things, I'm just looking for defenses on my gear. And that also lets me pivot, which is cool too if I want to do elemental later on. We just build like a really strong base character, and then we can do whatever we want with our weapons. My other ring, this is kind of like a thing that's on the chopping block for upgrade. It has life, strength, and then the lightning resist is very high. But the fire resist is not so high. It's okay though, because I would like a little bit more fire resist, and it wouldn't be hard to get more. But we would need like 24 to bump me up to that next fire resist, max resist breakpoint. So it would have to be like a 40 fire resist. So that'd be kind of hard to get. But anyway, it's all right. It could use more strength and it could use a little more life. I don't really get any value out of evasion or mana, so there's room for improvement there. My boots are pretty good. Give me a little bit of movement speed. You definitely would like to see more like 30, 35, but it has life, strength, resists, and decent armor. Doesn't have any added armor, but it's decent, right? Just because of the base. My belt is pretty solid. It gives me armor, it gives me life, flask recovery rate, strength, and then resists. It does have that thorns roll on it, which means that we definitely have some room for improvement there. Shield, if we didn't look at it yet, does give me block chance. Armor, life, strength, resists. Very nice. We're not going super ham on block chance right now, but I do like the fact that we have strength on it. And I think if I wanted to, I could put on this other shield. Let's see, is it here? Yeah. I was thinking about selling this one. It gives me more block chance and stuff, but I lose strength. I can still equip my weapon, but I like the fact that it gives me so much HP, but this does give me a ton of resistances if we want to be like super overcapped on res and have more armor, but look how much life I lose. So I'm not tip-top certain about that. But I do have enough strength now to use it, so maybe we ought to just chuck it on and we'll not have to worry about like Ellie res and stuff, but I like seeing that 4.7k health. That's pretty cool. That's pretty nice because of the strength and stuff. I was trying to sell one of these shields, but I might just leave it here for now. This also bumps me back up to 50% block on the dot, which is, I think that's kind of a nice stat to look at. But either way, those are the shields I'm rocking. My other weapon is still chilling. I could actually probably just put it on my back. I just have these 2 setups. Let's see, both of them work, I think. They're chilling. Having a shield on your back and a shield on your hand is kind of funny, I think. I don't think my passive changed all, do they? I don't want them to. Good, okay. That's funny. If I want a little more life leech, I guess I throw the other set on. Regardless, let's not get too sidetracked. My gloves are great. Armor, life, chaos resist. We don't need as many resists on the gloves, so we're able to get attack speed and strength, which is excellent. Again, armor, or resists, I think probably first. Resists, life, armor, or maybe even resist armor, life, and then strength on all my gear is great. The rings are great for picking up resists and attributes and stuff, accuracy even a little bit. I'm using a gold flask right now, but a safer one is the thawing flask for getting yourself out of freeze. Freeze is one of those things that's really scary. You can't block when frozen, you can't do anything, so you just kind of die. Then my flask, I like to have a little bit of recovery instant application there and a chance to gain a charge when you kill an enemy is great for mapping. But yeah, we're gonna have to see how this setup feels. A lot of this is looking pretty good. I'm just a little bit hesitant to throw resist on the helmet yet because I'm not sure what's happening with my shield situation. I'm not sure what's happening with the other stuff, but yeah, this is pretty solid. Again, if I wanted to throw this shield on just for more life, my resists are still okay, but if I run like a LE weakness map, then I probably want to throw that on because then we're very chilling on LE weakness. In terms of my Atlas, somebody was asking me about my Atlas. I'm rocking this right now for extra map tier upgrades. I'm going over here for local knowledge so I can run grass biomes to get those greater and maybe even hopefully perfect jeweler's orbs. I need those bad. Need those bad. When you froze are a pretty good strat. You can also just like pause and log out too if you really don't like what's happening. I get the precursor drops. I get a chance to have an essence in there. And then I come over here for primarily the map stuff. I want quantity of waystones. Rarity of waystones isn't that important, but it's a pretty quick trip to waystones to have a chance to be a higher tier, which I do like. Rarity, I was using that for a little while. I think that could be pretty cool. If you really want to buff up your maps, you could do this, but I think rarity would be kind of a good option, but I'm still rocking with just this path because I think that works pretty good. If we wanted to, we could sneak around if we want to do something else, but this is fine. This is fine. Rarity's fine. Then we come over here for more rares and pack size. Then we come over here for more magic monsters and pack size. Going all the way down in here for more quantity of waystones dropped. I really like dropping maps. That makes me happy. I want to have 15. I want to have tier 15s to run forever. When I level up, what I'm probably going to do though is I'm probably going to make the mobs a little stronger and more rewarding for this point. But I could also move this around once I get enough sockets. But I mean, farming those jeweler's orbs is pretty juicy. My map boss progression is to here now, making them contain an essence. Very excited for this one, where the map bosses are always making the area irradiated, so they are going to be +1 difficulty and +1 level for all the mobs inside the map, which is awesome too. I haven't really progressed this much. I did do a logbook and got a boss for Expedition though, so I have it just increasing artifacts, and that's fine. I don't know if that's like super juicy, but that's where I'm rocking right now. But all right, boys, that's where we're at for the moment. I'd like to go maybe just run a quick map and show you guys, but we had a lot to talk about because we had a whole bunch of like gear upgrades and things shifting around today. We were down here last time. Oh, you know, I guess we could, I mean, it's not very exciting. We could run a tower. I need to run the tower because I don't want to miss out on the juice. It's just not very, it's not very exciting, but I guess you'll get the feel for the build. And like I always like to say, if you guys really want to see what the build looks like, make sure that you guys are checking out the streams and the past broadcasts and checking those out. But yeah, looks intense mentally. It's really fun. You do a lot of thinking and whatnot, like planning your build out, and you get to kind of see how things feel as you go. But the actual gameplay is like pretty just blaster. But it is really fun. Gotta see how this this damage feels. Running around with my 2 shields on is pretty funny looking. Life leech not looking too bad. You can see we're stacking up armor plating. Our stampede is doing a lot of work just to blow everything up on the screen. Damage looking good. We do degen a little bit, but our life regen and our time of need kind of helps top off our HP a bit. If we ever find any stronger mobs, what we would do is we'd throw a hammer on them like that. Explode them. Whenever anybody survives like the first stun, you get in there and bone shatter them. Which hopefully should be giving me a chance at some endurance charges, which we have 2 of right now. Which means that our next war cry will be empowered, or empowering a couple extra attacks. So we can like empower this and sunder them for big damage, or we can just stampede them for big damage. We even still have 1 more charge, so the armor break giving me endurance charges is pretty sweet. Endurance charges used to give you more stuff. Like they used to just give you defense. Now it's really just buffing your next thing, but honestly we can just roll around the map and periodically Infernal Cry, and it will buff our next stampedes, which is still pretty good. I mean, it's gonna make stampede do like a way bunch more damage. Let's whack this guy. Way bunch more damage with as fire damage, and remember my weapon is buffing our elemental damage, so that's pretty sweet, huh? Ends up being a really smooth build. What was that? What kind of amulet was that? But part of the thing is we've been able to get a little bit stronger, so defensively, so we don't have to lean so much into block, and we can just have our character be like taking more hits to generate all that extra armor and extra rage for damage, which is again damage and armor. I might take off this double shield thing. It looks kind of funny. But yeah, we put back on the HP shield. Resistancers are a little bit lower, but and block is a little bit lower, but still feels pretty good. That was a tier 14 just tower run. We could probably do 1 more map just to show it off a little bit. Let's see, what did this thing turn into? I've been seeing more plus max life recently. That's kind of cool. Let's see if we can run a map real quick. I also want to see, what am I going to chuck in here? Maybe just irradiate everything. There's a lot of things that are irradiated. But I like... Oh, there's even another tower just right there. Cool. Let's get some more irradiation. There's some that are not irradiated. All these boss ones are not irradiated. There we go. One of the bosses got irradiated. Let's, you guys want to go kill a boss real quick at the riverside? Let's see. They gain life as energy shield. Chilled ground, shock ground, armored. I'm running my maps pretty, I'm running them pretty, like, safe right now. Let's see. We could do quantity or rarity. It's like, do I want to fight on chilled ground or give the boss energy shield? Let's go see how this goes. Yeah, we'll go fight a boss so I can show off the boss killing, because I think boss killing is okay, and I'll also show you the swap, the weapon swap that we do. Not weapon swap, but the gear swap. What the heck? Those guys didn't even get stunned by my thing. All right, anyway. I didn't even get hit by my stampede. I guess they hadn't fully spawned in yet. So now the beginning of this map is going to be like ramping up. Let me get the superior guy. It's gonna be ramping up my armor stacks and my berserk stacks. Give me that thing too, actually. Get that loot. Armor stacks, berserk stacks. And then once you get those going, you pretty much just roll. This guy got stunned, so I can blast him with that one. I don't have 2 shouts on right now, so I need to remember just to use the shouts that I'm using. I can just let it rip. And then I have endurance charges so that my next, like, 3 slams are going to be doing extra fire damage, which is better for mapping, I think. But for doing bosses, I'd rather have the seismic. Son of these fools. Boosh. Drop the hammer, call it down. I gotta run. Can't let the delirium go just yet. Where's the delirium trying to end? I didn't want all this. Hold up.
Fortune favors me.
Can I go this way? Yeah, it's moving upward. Okay. We might lose it then. Just how it is. It's a lot of stampeding, which is nice because stampede is mobility and damage, right? And if we're not doing as much damage, then we'll have to bone shatter. Uh-oh. They don't like the lightning stuff. We're also slowed too. Yuck. But if we're bone shattering, then we're definitely going to be getting some good juice off of that. Because bone shatter is where my endurance charges come from. So, I think I have to double check. Don't die. Don't die. Dude, the chilled ground is actually kind of freaking me out a little bit. Not gonna lie. Making my guy feel real slow. There we go. Sunder can frequently kill them. But if it does not, then the hammer will likely do it. Yeah, the shield ground is making me a little bit freaked out. And I think I am noticing the lack of life leech from my weapon. I think we're alright though. You gotta upgrade damage somehow. And the elemental damage buffing is pretty cool. Yeah, look, we have like 4 charges, 4 slams buffed. Boom. Take that. This boss is gonna be interesting, especially if we fight the boss Delirious. I wonder if it'll let me. That'd be sketchy. Boss level 80 right here. Although there are rares down there still. I see the boss now, though. Yeah, this is definitely zesty. I can feel a little bit extra damage though. Ow. I sniped those guys, what the heck? I can always put on my other weapon too. Goodbye. It would be probably fine to do that just for the life leech. We're gonna have to run all the way back down for the other rares. Are we about to fight this boss Delirious, man? I mean, I guess, shoot. May as well see it. See if we can do it. See what we got. So that's probably what I should do. If I'm gonna use these weapons, I should probably make a weapon swap where I have like extra regen and like lifesteal and stuff, and have like a boss killing weapon set. Be sick. Let's just throw the hammer at these fools. Throw a sunder down at them. Give me some of this. Even though we're recording a video, we gotta get that loot, boys. And we could try a delirious boss. Hope it doesn't just one-shot me. But if it does, that'll be build testing right there. Things of Kalen. That's build testing. Actually, don't want to get that precursor and then people start spamming me about that. Hey, give me that. All right. Check that in there. Here we go. Get our flask on just in case. Feels okay though. Feels all right. All right, big boss. I'm not sure who the boss is in here. Is it the big lady? As long as we don't get one-shotted, it's okay, I think. I forget who's the boss in this zone. Hopefully nothing too freaky. There you go, leap slam. But yeah, those endurance charges are nice. HP definitely looking a little bit shakier though. But what would make this look less shaky is if I just wasn't using Berserk. But I do like using Berserk. It's a lot more damn. Just rolling through. Pumping them. How can I zoom out like this? I'm using an ultra-wide monitor is the main thing. Yeah, Bone Shatter definitely still does some serious work. I like it being part of the build. You gotta watch out for them ladies. Them corpse exploders. Okay. Let's see, probably have a couple more mobs for the boss room. But we will drop off armored plating. Because there's usually some kind of RP the bosses do to make all your buffs fall off anyway. Whoa, that's a big boy. Wait, oh my, wait. We're fighting we're gonna fight a delirious monkey boss? We are definitely gonna get one-shotted by that guy. Well, let's give it a try, huh? So we do scavenge plating comes out. Herbalism goes in. Vitality goes in. Seismic Cry comes out. Right. Seismic Cry comes out. We still like the days. We still like, or sorry, Seismic Cry goes in. Let's do this one too. We don't need to really AoE. Okay. Hopefully it doesn't one-shot me. You think I'm cooked? Let's find out. Damn, he's pissed. Wait, he has mobs here? Interesting. Okay. Oh, he's forced to stand there and cast Scatterstorm? That's cool. Cool. That's good for me. I think. No. I don't think I should go for the, Okay. Good build, but we're dead. Crap! Crap! I didn't see if he was doing his big wind up. Hey, we pushed it trying to do the delirious boss, but oh well. GG. I'm not gonna lie. There's a helicopter that flew over my house. It distracted me, and then we died. GG. GG. Hey, still a pretty fun build. We should not have gotten one-shotted like that. Just need a spam roll, and we would have been okay. He really wound that thing up. Anyway, that's the build. That cost me some time. We better get back to work. We got some work to do. But anyway, that's where we're at. GG's. That we got to get back to work. But that's where we're at with the build. I think it's gonna feel good. We just need to play a little sharper against those delirious Giga Monkey bosses, and we'll be just fine. Let's get back to work. We got some XP to farm. GG.